Best of r/entitled parents episode 130. Subscribe for edit videos daily. This happened a few years ago while my daughter was still potty training. My wife, my daughter, and I were at a children's museum for a kid's birthday, and my daughter was playing in this fake dirt pit type of thing. Had something resembling synthetic mulch or something. It had toy trucks and buried dinosaur toys and stuff in it, so the kids had fun digging. My wife and I are standing there watching my daughter play when we see this other kid digging a couple feet away, and with every scoop he's throwing the fake dirt over his head and behind him, and it's hitting my daughter in her face and head and getting stuck in her hair. My wife, a former teacher, politely asks him to please stop throwing the dirt, and he does so for the moment. Maybe 3 minutes later he starts doing it again, so my wife uses a slightly sterner teacher voice and asks him again to stop throwing the dirt. At this point the kid's mom, obviously a Karen, who is on the complete other side of the play area from where her kid is, yells to her kid to move over to her because if that lady talks to you again there's going to be a problem. My wife immediately confronts her, saying there will definitely be a problem if she doesn't keep her kid from throwing stuff at our daughter. Karen storms over to us and starts ranting about how her son has autism, so nothing is his fault, etc. Every time I try to get a word in edgewise she just starts all over again. Eventually I get aggravated but ask her in a calm voice if she's finished yet so that I can speak. She huffs and rolls her eyes. I told her I don't care if your kid is autistic. We shouldn't have to ask him twice not to throw shit at people before you finally step up and do your job as a parent. And if you know your kid is autistic and has problems like this, maybe you shouldn't be standing 20 feet away and ignoring your kid so you can blab with other moms. Maybe you should have intervened the first time you saw him throwing shit instead of doing absolutely nothing. That really pissed her off and I saw her eyes go wide. Just when she opened her mouth to start ranting again, I put my hand up and said we're done here, turned my back on her, and walked over to my daughter to play with her. The woman went back to her little group of moms and was obviously talking shit about my wife and I, but I didn't care as long as she was finally keeping an eye on her kid and he wasn't throwing shit at my daughter anymore. Thank you. Next. Some background: I am 13 but pretty mature for my age. This happened about 6 months ago. Cast: entitled mother. Me. Curious kid. He was not rude at all. Kind lady. So I take the train to my grandparents' house to visit them every couple months as we are very close. And I was playing Friday the 13th, the game on my laptop, which is a hard M-rated game, and I was playing as Jason, but after a couple stops EM and Curious Kid walk into the train and up to the level I was on. Curious Kid sits next to me. I pause the game and say, hey dude, this game is for older kids and might scare you. I wouldn't be comfortable showing you this game. He is about to get up when EM chimes in. Well, you could switch it to something more appropriate like don't you have Fortnite or something, she says in a very condescending tone. I reply back with yes, but that requires Wi-Fi to play, which I am lacking right now. And I am in the middle of this, so I don't want to swear. Well, that game is extremely violent and my son is bored. Can't you just switch, EM said. Then she added, if that game is for adults, why are you playing it? Because my mom lets me, I responded. This Steam account is in her email, so the knows I have the game. It doesn't matter, that game is very violent and I will have you kicked off this train for exposing my son to such violent games. At this point Curious Kid finally spoke up. Mom, it's fine, I was not looking since he said it would scare me. EM says, well, I will have you arrested for obscenity anyway. Then kind lady that looked about 25 chimed in, look lady, even if you did do that he wouldn't be the one facing the charges, it would be the creator of the game. So leave this poor kid alone. EM scuttled off with her son. Nice lady sat down with me and I found out she was a fan of Friday the 13th as well, and we chatted for about 10 minutes until it was my stop. I thanked her for helping me with EM and she said she hated people that think just because they have children they get special treatment. So I guess there was a silver lining to all this. I can completely understand why EM would not want her son seeing that game, but you can sit somewhere else. Your son was not even that interested in the game. Also, I am writing this on my phone, so spelling and grammar may not be the greatest. Thank you. Next. On mobile. Sorry for formatting and other errors. So this just happened Friday. The city where I live and work is located in the Midwest part of the United States, and of course we are currently trying to limit the outbreak of COVID-19. Schools are closed. Many businesses are closed, and those that are open are limiting their interactions with the general public as much as possible. So first, some important background information. I work in a small office complex where the business owners own the office or workspace, but they are like condominiums in that each building has multiple office units, each with their own entrance. There are a total of 5 buildings, 4 of which have 4 separate businesses and the 5th building has 6. My boss, Bosman, acts as the property manager, hiring the yardman to maintain the common grounds between the buildings and around the parking lot, maintaining the parking lot, and the exterior of the buildings. Each business owner pays a proportionate amount of maintenance cost, and Bosman is the contact person with the city and all contractors on the property. These businesses are all very low traffic type of businesses, and pretty much anyone who is coming to one of the businesses has an appointment. Also, all business signs are rather small in size and can only be displayed above the main door or next to the door of each individual business. There is a sign at the main road with the office complex name, but no business names are listed on this sign. Now oddly, we have hairstylist with a very well established clientele with a unit in the complex for her hair salon. She only sees clients by appointment only, no walk-ins. She does no advertising. She only takes on new clients from recommendations from current clients. Because of the small parking lot, there is a need to limit the foot traffic. She is only open 4 days a week, and one of those days is Saturday, so her business has minimal impact on the other businesses on the property. That is until Friday, and this is where our story starts. I am able to work from home part of the time, but on Friday Bosman needed me to actually be in our office. He was the only other person working in our office that day. At around 1:30 p.m. I see several children running around outside my office window, not a common sight in our office complex. I am about to go see what is going when the office phone rings, so I stop to answer it. At the same time, Bosman's cell phone started ringing. So I am talking to another owner within the office complex, and I am able to tell that he is talking to yet a different owner within the complex. While I am on the phone, he goes out our main office door, and I am being told about a woman with several children in tow who is going around the complex trying to get into the different offices. Most of us keep our main doors locked because only a few have any type receptionist, and owners don't want people just walking in unexpectedly. Anyway, I tell this person that Bosman seems to have gone out to see what is going on. Before I even hang up, the other line rings. It is another owner saying the same thing. Only this one has called the police because the woman is yelling at the lady because her door was locked and was demanding to be let inside. So I get off the phone to go find Bosman and let him know that the police have been called. I find Bosman. He is standing in the doorway of the hair salon at the far end of our building, blocking a woman with 4 children ranging in age from approximately 10 years down to the toddler she is carrying, from entering the salon. Apparently Bosman went to the salon and asked if they were expecting a woman with multiple children for an appointment. The salon owner told him no, she was just about to start on this client and her next appointment wasn't until 3:30 p.m. At this time the woman, EM, come up behind Bosman and tried to push past him to get into the salon, but Bosman wouldn't let her get past him. This enraged the EM, who started screaming at him. Salon owner is inside trying to calm down her current appointment, an elderly lady who is upset about the EM and her screeching crotch goblins. Before I can even get to Bosman and let him know that the police have been called, the first police unit arrives on scene, soon followed by a second unit, and then a supervisor joins the fray. This is a major event in the middle of the afternoon in our small city. And of course we now have several people from the different offices who have come out to see what is happening. So much for that social distancing. EM is screaming about how she just wants to get her children's hair cut. She just needed to get out of the house. Most hair salons are closed, but she heard about a salon around here that was open. She didn't know what it was called, so she just came looking for it, not knowing exactly where it was and without having an appointment. Why are all these people around here being so mean to her? No one would let her in when she tried to get in these places, and nobody told her where the salon was, and now she finally found the salon, but this man, Bosman, won't even let her go inside the salon. One officer talks with EM and gets her to sit down by my office where we have a small patio with some patio furniture. The officer tries to calm EM, but she is still yelling and screaming and going on about how difficult everything has been for her. She kept acting like she is the only person who is being inconvenienced by all the stuff happening right now. She kept going on about how all this was for her. The salon owner told the police supervisor that the woman was not a client and she would be refusing to provide her service. Bossman spoke with the other owners who were present and none of them knew the woman and they agreed they didn't want her on the property. So Bossman informed the police supervisor that they were going to have the woman trespass from property. So the police checked her ID and Bossman signed the trespass paperwork and the woman and her children were escorted off the property and if she ever returned she will be arrested for trespassing. The salon owner called Bossman later to thank him for his help in keeping the woman and her crotch goblins from getting inside her salon. She would have needed to disinfect everything again if they came in and started touching things. She has some clients who are higher risk and she is spacing out appointments so she can disinfect any surface they touch while there. She offered to cut his hair for free for 6 months. Her thanked but said it was not necessary. Thank you. Next. This is a story of my friend. This is on a phone so be warned. And please point out mistakes please. Characters. M. Entitled Monkeyg 1 and 2. Innocent Kids 1 and 2F. Friend FD. Friend's Dad FM. Friend's Mom Me. Not in this story. Backstory. In my state the governor has declared that no more than 10 people may gather in one place so church was cancelled so church service was cancelled. But they are live streaming the service every Sunday. To the story FD and FM decided to bring some people over to watch the church on their TV. EM brings Ike 1 and 2 over because she has to work. After that the 10 cap has reached so no one else can come to watch the service. About a half an hour later. EM comes back to watch the service because get this that she was afraid that she would catch the coronavirus at work. She worked at a place where her and one other person works and they see no one else. They get shipped in paper records and have to turn them into online records. So when she got to their house she knocked on the door and F went to answer. This is where this interaction happens. F opens door. EM attempts to force her way into the house. F. Hey, stop. EM. Get out of my way, I am here to watch the service with my children. FD, what's going on? EM, this demon spawn of yours will not let me see my children. FD, well you can take your children or leave by yourself because we already have too many people here. EM, then make someone else leave because I need to be with my children. FM, I know how you feel but you can watch the service on your phone or on a smart TV but you cannot come in here for now. EM, no. Doubles down on trying to get in and gets past F who is at least 50 pounds lighter. FD, punches EM in the chest. Get out. FD, IK1 IK2 your mom is here you are leaving now. EM, but FD, out now. EM leaves with 2 sad IK. TLDR EM tries to get in a house and gets punched in the chest. Any question ask please. Thank you. Next. Trigger warning, child abuse/rape. Okay, so this may not exactly belong in this subreddit, but I didn't know where else to post it. The woman in question is entitled, and she was legally a step-parent at the time. So it kinda fits. If there is a better sub for this, let me know. Backstory, I met my wifey in high school, and she was 6 months pregnant at the time. The bio father, DBD, was a complete deadbeat. And the only reason I even met the two of them is because my friend was sleeping with DB behind Wifey's back and wanted to introduce me to him. When the baby, DD, was born, DBD dropped out of school and changed his number to avoid Wifey and the new baby. By the time DD was 8 months old, Wifey and I had started dating. We graduated together, moved across the state to college, and went on with our lives as a happy little family. Fast forward 5 years. We have never heard from DBD, and until DD was 3, 5, she and Wifey still technically lived with Wifey's mom on breaks and such in the same house they had always been, just a few blocks from DBD. Out of the blue, he sends us a message on FB asking to have DD over for the weekend. Apparently he had gotten his new girlfriend pregnant and they had rushed to get married. Now the new wife, we'll call her Psycho, wanted DBD to have his daughter back. It had been 5 years, she didn't know him, and we didn't know what to say at first. Out of curiosity, we checked out both DBD and Psycho's profiles, and I nearly fainted. For nearly a year, Psycho had been collecting photos of DD from anyone's profile that would share a picture of her. Not only that, she was posting them on her profile as if she had been the one to take them. This included shots from a Mother's Day photo shoot we had paid for. The photographer posted some of the shots with her watermark on her page before we even got the shots back, and Psycho copied them all to post on her profile, saying it was the best Mother's Day gift ever. Her baby was not yet born. Scared and angry, we found it best to ignore their request. There was no way we could get Dee Dee to go along with spending the weekend at a stranger's house anyway. So, they sued us for full custody and child support. WTF. All hell broke loose when wifey was served papers at work. Immediately, we shut down our FB profiles, because that's how Psycho knew where to send the papers, and told all our friends and family to take down any pictures of Dee Dee. But, that wasn't enough to stop her. Turns out, in addition to stealing photos, Psycho also made several fake profiles to add friends and family and get information about us. We never added anyone we didn't know, but other family members had. There were 7 fake profiles altogether. When we had them all removed and reported, Psycho started sending her friends and family to attempt to add us and gather more information about us. She showed up at Dee Dee's Christmas show at school, when we didn't even tell them where she went to school. She repeatedly showed up at Wifey's work to try to get her in trouble, and called the cops on us for several false incidents. The reasons listed by their lawyer for seeking full custody were, because we're lesbians, and that's bad for kids. We abuse Dee Dee, never once in her life. We do drugs, even offered to do a piss test, but she wouldn't spring for it since we would all have to foot that bill. Well, based solely on the fact that over 5 years prior he had signed the VAP. DBD got visitation rights. Wifey retained primary custody, because, duh, and visits were begun slowly so Dee Dee could get to know DBD. Eventually, it moved to every other weekend for the whole weekend. But Dee Dee never made it the whole weekend. They made her sleep on the floor in their basement, so she never liked staying there for more than a night. The custody settled, we opened a case for support. And of course DBD tried everything he could not to be responsible for support. When he ducked out over 5 years ago, we never asked him for a dime. But, they wanted all this, so we did it all. You wouldn't believe the excuses he'd try. Even though they won, Psycho didn't stop trying to destroy our names online, and attempting to turn everyone from high school still in our hometown against us. She wanted the happy little family, and Dee Dee was throwing a wrench in her plans by not calling her mommy right from the get-go. When they showed up at her spring concert uninvited, Psycho demanded Dee Dee take her around and introduce her. So Dee Dee introduced them as her step-parents. Both of them face rolling on the floor laughing. She had just turned 6, and was still a little confused by the whole thing. Oh, that was another thing. Because she and Dee Dee had the same birthday, Psycho insisted she's supposed to be mine. That's why she came early. One night when Dee Dee was at their house, we get the usual call to come and get her, only it was Psycho's mom on the phone and not DBD. They lived with Psycho's parents and neither drove, so her parents had to take them everywhere. When we get to the pickup point, Dee Dee is in tears and DBD hops into his in-laws truck without an explanation. Turns out, Psycho lost her cool when Dee Dee didn't want to stay the night again, so she sat Dee Dee down and read her the custody agreement line for line. Then, she looked that 6-year angel in the eye and told she could have her mama that me, arrested any time she wanted to for not complying with the custody agreement. Psycho was convinced the only reason Dee Dee wouldn't like her is because we told her not to. Dude, I don't want her to like Wifey's mom either, but I have no say in who my daughter cares for. Well, for the next week I get to force Dee Dee onto the school bus in tears because she's convinced I will get arrested while she's at school and I won't be there waiting for her in the afternoon. Gots, just typing that out breaks my heart all over again. Thanks for that, Psycho. But, this story ends with some poetic justice. Maybe they were tired for fighting with a little girl, maybe she realized just how badly she had messed up, who knows, but before the next visitation, we got an email from our lawyer explaining DBD wanted to sign over his rights. It had only been 3 months since he enacted them and allow me to formally adopt DD. We were ecstatic, obviously. We agreed and everything fell into place. She never had to see them again, and Wifey and I could shoulder the online attacks, and occasional face-to-face confrontation, from everyone in their family seeing them as the victims. Life got back to normal, and we began to heal, but their story wasn't finished. 2 weeks ago, I got a message from DBD's sister-in-law who never really took part in the harassment. She's married to his younger brother, and just had their first baby. She was hoping we would consider letting DD get to know her baby since they are biologically cousins. That isn't the way we see family in this house, but I understand other people put an emphasis on DNA. It turns out, the 3 kids Psycho ended up having with DBD are no longer allowed to visit his side of the family, and DD is the only biological cousin left. Why? Because DBD raped an 11-year-old girl he and Psycho were supposed to be babysitting. He went to prison and Psycho divorced him, banning his entire family from seeing any of the kids. My heart bleeds for the little girl who had her life ruined. But I am human, so forgive me when I say, after watching that Psycho twist my little girl all up inside, I feel satisfied with her serving of karma. Thank you. Next. This happened a few years ago. My friend and I bought tickets to a concert featuring a lot of cool artists. We couldn't believe it was only $35. Mind you that the main artist is a former child star from Disney, and the concert was full of young teens and a lot of them were with their parents. Kind of lame, we thought, but okay. We were determined to enjoy the concert. Fast forward after all opening acts were over, the child star comes out and it's actually quite exciting. She sings pop songs, big surprise, and a lot of them are big hits. We were having fun and dancing, and letting our inner teen out. It was a great time. Then comes EM, taps me on the shoulder and asks me to stop dancing all over her son. Mind you that the kid was a 12-year-old that had obviously not stepped a single toe into puberty yet. He just seemed confused. I was in a foreign country. English is my second language. I couldn't even think of what to say, so I just said sorry, I didn't see him. I told my friend what happened then and there, and she was super protective, so she grabbed me and put me on the other side of her. Now she's next to EM's kid. We carried on like nothing had happened and kept on dancing. Mind you, we weren't swinging our arms profusely or twerking or anything that could either hit people around us or be considered inappropriate for a children's concert. EM started bitching at my friend, this time being passive aggressive and rude to her son. She was so fucking bothered that we were having a good time that she was taking it out on the poor kid. She kept saying careful not to let them touch you super loud, almost in our ears, all while grabbing him aggressively to move him a bit. She finally confronted us again, but this time she was talking to my friend. Now, my friend's English was way better than mine and she's not a people pleaser like me. She went on to say that we weren't touching EM's son, and we weren't doing anything wrong. EM asked us to move, and my friend said we weren't moving. EM proceeded to say, if you don't move I'll knock you over. My friend and I went to find security, because at this point EM threatened us and wasn't leaving us alone. We walked the security guard to EM and her kid. She talked to him. We couldn't hear anything because, well, it was a concert and it was loud AF. Which makes the whole confrontation from earlier even more cringy, and then security asked my friend and I to move. When I looked at EM she had a gross smirk on her face. That was the end of it. It wasn't a happy ending with EM getting what she deserved. But I'm sure she will if she keeps up with that attitude. Fuck you EM from hell. I hope your son grows to be better than you. Thank you. Next. Okay, so this happened a few months ago. Background. I had been saving up for years to get a PC that I really wanted for $2,000. However, I found one with all of the specs that I wanted for $1,500 once I had earned the money. That also allowed me to get a nice monitor, keyboard, and mouse. I also got a new desk, because my old one was falling apart. I'm 17 years old by the way. Anyway, in the end, I had about $300 or $400 left in my bank account. However, my entitled parents, who created my bank account, also have the info to get into it. Anyways, I had all of the things for my PC sitting in the corner of my room while I waited for the desk to arrive. This is when ED strikes. ED, hey, OP, me, yeah, what is it? ED, correct me if I'm wrong, but what grades do you have right now? I think they look terrible. Me, I have almost all A's, and 1 B. Why? ED, I didn't raise you for a B. Look, it's almost a C already. It wasn't. Me, I have always had trouble in history. I don't see what the whole big deal you are making is. This was the wrong thing to say. ED, how dare you? I raised you and you treat me like this. I knew we should have aborted you. Your sister is enough to deal with already. He then proceeded to kick me out of the house and say, "Get out of here until you learned your lesson." I just did what I normally would do whenever he gets moody. Take a walk to Starbucks and play games on my phone for a few hours. When I returned home, it was about 7 p.m. I went into my room to lay down, when I noticed something wrong. My unopened boxes of things for my PC were all ruined. I thought he had destroyed it, but they were empty. He wasn't home either. I started to panic when I got a call from him. This is how the conversation went. ED, I hope you are all happy with yourself. Me, WTH did you do with my stuff? ED, oh, what do you mean? I'm just helping you to improve your grades. Me, no you're not. You are just stealing my stuff. ED, how dare you accuse your LOVIBG father of doing something like that? I would never steal from you. I just remove your privileges when you are bad. Me, now getting angry. What did you do with my computer? ED, oh, you won't be needing that old thing anymore. I sold it. He then hung up, and I can just imagine his smug face. Later on, when I managed to pull myself back together, my dad ends up pulling into the driveway. He is pulling a big box after himself. ED, help me out with this. Me, no, why should I do that? What you should do is give me the money you got for refunding the computer. ED, it wouldn't be a punishment if I just have it back to you. In fact, you're not getting any back at all. I just spent it all buying this new TV for myself. By the way, you're grounded now, and I'm taking away your phone and you can't watch TV for at least 2 months. This was just outrageous. He not only sold my computer, but he is using the money for his own self-benefit. He even sold the keyboard and mouse, and would have gotten even more money for them if he didn't take them out of the box. After a few days, with me going to school and not coming back until late at night, ignoring my dad's yelling at me every night, I decided to just check in and see how my monthly interest was going on in my bank account. To my horror, when I opened it up, there was only $15 left in it. I was sure I had at least $350, meaning ED had done something. I confronted him about it, and he just said, TVs cost more than you think. He bought a $1,800 TV, and charged me for what he couldn't make from my PC. The moment I get enough money, I'm out of there, and I bet he's gonna be shocked when not just my sister, but I won't be showing up to his family gathering as well.